Welcome to Vaughn's Futureproof Focus podcast, where we explore topics related to college affordability, expanding opportunity, and career growth in STEM and aviation. Hey, everybody, we're thrilled today to welcome James Chitty, the CEO of Talon Air and one of Vaughn's newest partners.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, terrific. So tell us a little bit about Talon before we get into some questions.
Talon is, a full service private aviation company. So we touch all facets of the business, right? We have a repair station, we buy and sell airplanes, we charter airplanes, we manage airplanes. We like to say kind of once the customer is in our ecosystem, they can kind of live here forever.
Very nice. And what drew you to aviation? Was this a lifelong passion or a happy accident?
Honestly, not. I consider myself a sales and marketing guy. I was in the mortgage business, and 2007, 2008 was starting to happen. The market was starting to crash. I was looking for the next thing, and a buddy of mine had flown private with his for work, for business purposes, and he met the sales guy essentially, at the side of the airplane, and came over to me and said, "Hey, I know you're looking for the next thing. This would probably be a good fit for you." So kind of reached out. I've always been passionate about, luxury items. And the truth is, once I got into the space and you realize that you're dealing with kind of different captains of industry every day, right? I tell everybody the coolest part about my job is some days it's some real estate mogul. The next day it could be a manufacturer that makes some widget that I've never heard of, kind of across the so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and just this is from having been here for a long time. You all have the best stories. And you can't usually reveal the names, but you always have the best stories.
It's funny. It's something I'm very conscious of. I hate, sometimes it feels like I'm trying to one up everybody, and I'm like, oh, you had that experience. Well, we had this experience, and it's you gotta slow it down a little bit once in a while.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so how do you want students to know about Talon, and what do you want them to know about Talon?
Look, we want to expose students to aviation in general, right? It seems like there's a niche of people that are definitely coming into the space, but as we all know, and it's been all over the news lately, there's 1.5 million jobs that need to be filled by 2035. So by doing more things like this and exposing ourselves to schools and partnerships and letting people know that hey, there's a real opportunity, there's a real industry out there with really endless opportunities that you can kind of get into and really grow with a company like us or some of our competitors or the airlines, right? It's we've had good success hiring Vaughn students. Um, Many are still employed here, and many have come and gone, and it's always been a good experience. So we want to give everybody the opportunity to know that we're out here and know that there's other options besides the major carriers.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's probably one of the challenges. I know it's one of the challenge. Students come here and go, "I'm going to the airline," right? And it's like, wait, there's a whole world out there of really cool opportunities. What's sort of the Talon sales pitch for why they should work for you?
Look, there's definitely benefits to the airlines and some of the programs that they offer, the training, et cetera. But with us, it's not, you don't have that same monotony of the day-to-day task, right? Our fleet is much more diverse. We're going to different locations every day. I always like to say, hey, once we get a talented person in the building, we kind of look at them like they're the customer, and we say, how can we show this person a path to kind of the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and whatever that is, right? Wherever they want to go. So we look at it and we say, hey, you're not capped, right? You might come here as a dispatcher, and next thing you know, one of my first hires from Vaughn back in 2015 at my previous company, wanted to be an air traffic controller. He morphed into a salesperson. He's still in the industry to this day. He's very successful, and I have a lot of stories like that also, where it's, hey, I thought I was going to do this, and we kind of shifted because they saw the opportunity, right? They just didn't know that some of these opportunities existed. So the more exposure we can offer them, the better.
It's so interesting because that is very true at small shops, right, smaller, right? Like small institutions like Vaughn. You can wear lots of hats. You can try out a lot of things. Where if you go to really large, significant uh, organizations, you're kind of pigeonholed, right? If you're a maintenance tech, you're a maintenance tech. That's it, right? Or if you're a dispatcher or if you're a crew scheduler, you're staying in that job, right? And so working for a place like Talon, you get a chance to explore some things you maybe weren't sure you really liked, right? And might create a whole career from that.
The truth is, the collaboration between kind of our different departments is so important to our business, right? One hand kind of feeds the other, and showing how the accounting person relates to the maintenance tech doesn't, it's not always so clear, but when you're in an organization like ours, you have the opportunity to kind of feel it and touch it a little bit more. You're around more people and more access. So it kind of morphs into, hey, that seems cool. I'd like to learn about that. Like, how do I head in that direction? And the truth is, we've created positions, right? Positions that didn't exist because this person had a niche or kind of needed the next thing. We've created positions specifically for employees.
And you get to see the interconnectedness of it all too, right? Which you lose at large organizations, which is really nice.
Exactly.
Um, that even if you're not customer facing, you're still part of the experience. Um, yeah.
We talk about it all the time, right? For us, for example, the pilots are really probably the most forward facing, customer facing, people that
Hmm.
we have. And the truth is, the crew scheduler or the person who's booking their hotel rooms or rental cars has such an impact on how they interact with the customer, and kind of connecting the dots and showing the staff that, hey, we're all in this together is really a huge
Yeah.
piece for us.
Yeah. Really nice. So, what kind of jobs are you recruiting for right now at Talon?
Truth is, we're recruiting for everything, right? We just want talented individuals. Look, we're always looking for maintenance techs. We're always looking for pilots. We all know about the shortages and the things that are out there, dispatchers. But really, I like to use the word bandwidth, and I say anybody with a little bit of bandwidth and some sort of skill set where we can kind of lean on them and push. We're interested in meeting. Obviously, we prefer people that are passionate about aviation or have some kind of education or history in the space. But even people without, I mean, the truth is, if you're smart and capable and you want to push, kind of work on the team, work together, we're interested.
That's awesome. So, how are you seeing technology have an impact on your business? Right, AI, a lot of these new tools. Is it changing the charter business?
It's twofold, right? It's the AI and the technology pieces have definitely made life easier from like a projection and a forward-looking standpoint. Obviously we're an airline, right? So the regulatory compliance and the FAA is not always the quickest to get ahead of the technology curve. So there's still some challenges there. I think as an industry we can do better. But it's funny because it recently dawned on me, our next big push is automation and AI internally. And I was always kind of scared to start it because it just seems like such a big lift, right? It's such a big lift to kind of get over the hump. But the truth is, we have thousands and thousands of hours and flights and data that that AI can now optimize, right? I know what planes do in the peak seasons. I know how long inspections take, right? It's all recorded and there for us. So we're excited about the possibilities. We've explored some newer programs that we'll probably customize for ourselves to really streamline the space and make everybody's job more efficient.
Hmm. Yeah,
Passenger
no,
experience,
it's
passenger
exciting.
experience more efficient as well, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, the ability to get good analysis that you couldn't hire somebody to do because the project would just be too big, is so exciting. But you're right about the daunting nature. I'm with you. Right. So, like, how much do I have to understand before we do this thing? Right. Um, yeah. And what about sustainability? Is that something that Talon is able to focus on and think about it going into the future?
It is. I mean, look, everybody wants carbon neutral and zero carbon footprint and things of that nature. It's tough in our space, but we take probably monthly meetings with kind of alternative fuel providers, electric engines, right? We're looking at all of the future opportunities. It's much more prevalent in Europe, and we're seeing it with a lot of our European partners, where it's a focus. So it's definitely kind of front of mind in front of the agenda, but even internally, things like eliminating the water bottles on the planes and doing some other kind of smaller everyday items, right? Everybody just thinks about gas, but there's so many other things that we do internally and encourage our team to do, right? We built water stations and different things of that nature to help even electric charging vehicles outside and things of that nature. So it's across the board, but yeah, sustainability is it's front of mind for our whole industry, and I think you'll see some exciting things, especially on the engine front in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a challenge when you're in New York. It's not like there's feedstock stocks like down the street, right? We're not in a heavy agricultural place. So, trying to ship that in, does that defeat the purpose, right? So it is a little bit more challenging. Yeah, but the engine advancements, I think, are going to be really key to getting us to that 2050 goal for sure. Yeah. So this has been terrific. I guess my last thing would be, if someone were interested in working for Talon, what's the best way to find out more?
Go to our website, send us an email. I mean, we actually have a special portal just for Vaughn, and your team's aware of that. But yeah, our website is the best place to look, and reach out, inquire, and make a push. We're looking for, like I said, talented, smart individuals that want to work hard and come on board.
That's terrific. Well, we're really thrilled to partner with you, James, and appreciate the fact that you're helping us to raise awareness about all the opportunities that are available in
It helps
aviation and
us all. It
aerospace.
helps us all.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah, that's
excited.
perfect. All right, so we always have a question at the end, which is not really necessarily related to what we just talked about, but speaking in your role as a CEO or even in your personal life, can you share with us what's the most daring thing you've ever done and how did you talk yourself into it?
So I got into the aviation business. I had a house fire at the time. My house actually burned down to the ground. So I was actually living in a hotel in the moment, going through the insurance process. And to fund my first business, to fund the first aviation business, rather than rebuild the house, I actually took the insurance money and invested into that entity.
Wow.
So that was pretty daunting. That was
Yeah. I mean, it clearly worked out.
yeah, it
Oh, that,
did.
I have to say, I think that's the best one I've heard. So, I think this is episode 20. That is awesome. Wow. Were you able to sleep?
Not really. The worst part is I didn't have any clothes. That was really the worst part. So it's, starting a new business without any clothes is pretty
Yeah.
challenging in its own. So yeah,
Jeez.
that was pretty
Oh,
risky.
well, I love it. I love it. Talk about taking a leap of faith. That's awesome. Terrific. All right. So, our Vaughn's Futureproof tip of the month, right? If this conversation excited you, check out Vaughn and Talon. So, to check out Vaughn, it's www.vaughn.edu. And I think is it talonair.com? Oh,
TalonAirJets.com.
talonairjets.com. All right. Terrific. Thank you very much, James.
Thanks, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Have a question? Email us at futureprooffocus@vaughn.edu. And don't forget to subscribe, follow, and rate the podcast. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.